wine, my lord?" asked the middle-aged woman in the long red dress. Then Primus had entered the inn. "I'm afraid not," he said. "I have personal superstition that until the day I see my brother's corpse cold on the ground before me, I shall drink only my own wine and eat only food I have obtained and prepared myself. This I shall do here. If you have no objections, I shall of course pay you as if it were your own wine I was drinking. If I might trouble you to put this bottle of mine near the fire to take the chill from it. Now I have a companion on my journey, a young man who is attending the horses. He has sworn no such oath, and I am sure that he could send him a mug of burnt ale. It would help take the chill from his bones." A pot-maid bobbed and curtsied, and she scuttled back to the kitchen. "So, mine host," said Primus to the white-bearded innkeeper, "how are your beds here at the back of beyond? Have you straw mattresses? Are there fires in the bedrooms? And I know with increasing pleasure that there is a bathtub in front of the fireplace. Is there fresh copper of steaming water? I shall have a bath later, but I shall pay you no more than a small silver coin for it, mind." The innkeeper looked to his wife, who said, "Our beds are good, and I shall have the maid make a fire in the bedroom for you and your companion." Primus removed the dripping black robe and hung it by the fire beside the star's still damp blue dress. Then he turned and saw the young lady sitting at a table. "Another guest," he said. "Well met, milady, in this noxious weather." At that, there was a loud clattering from the stables next door. "Something must have disturbed the horses," said Primus, concerned. "Perhaps the thunder," said the innkeeper's wife. "Perhaps," said Primus. Something else was occupying his attention. He walked over to the star and stared into her eyes for several heartbeats. He hesitated. Then, with certainty, "You have my father's stone. You have the power of the Stormhold." The girl glared up at him with eyes the blue of the sky at the evening. "Well then," she said, "ask me for it, and I can have done with the stupid thing." The innkeeper's wife hurried over and stood at the head of the table. "I'll not have you bother the other guests now, my dearie ducks," she told him sternly. Primus' eyes fell upon the knives upon the wood of the tabletop. He recognized them. They were tattered scrolls in the vaults of Stormhold, in which those knives were pictured and their names were given. They were old things from the first age of the world. The front door of the inn banged open. Primus called Tristan, running in. "They have tried to poison me." The Lord Primus reached for his short sword, but even as he went for it, the witch queen took the longest of the knives and drew the blade in one smooth, practical movement across his throat. For Tristan, it all happened too fast to follow. He entered, saw the star, Lord Primus, and the innkeeper and his strange family, and then the blood was spurting in grissom fountain in the firelight. "Get him," called the woman in the scarlet dress. "Get the brat." Billy and the maid ran towards Tristan, and it was then that the unicorn entered the inn. Tristan threw himself out of the way. The unicorn reared up on its hind legs, and a blow from one of his sharp hooves sent the pot-maid flying. Billy lowered his his head and ran headlong at the unicorn, as if he were about to butt in his forehead. The unicorn lowered his head also. "Stupid!" screamed the innkeeper's wife furiously, and she advanced upon the unicorn, a knife in each hand, blood staining her right hand and forearm at the same color as her dress. Tristan had thrown himself onto his hands and knees and had crawled toward the fireplace. In his left hand he held the lump of wax, all that remained of the candle that had brought him here. He had been squeezing it in his hands until it was soft and malleable. "This had better ought to work," said Tristan to himself. He hoped that the tree had known that she was talking about. Behind him, the unicorn screamed in pain. Tristan ripped a lace from his jerkin and closed the wax around it. "What is happening?" asked the star. She had crawled toward Tristan on her hands and knees. "I don't really know," he admitted. The witch woman howled. Then the unicorn had separated with her with its horn through the shoulder. It lifted her off the ground triumphantly, preparing to dash her to the ground and then dash her to death beneath its sharp hooves. When impaled as she was, the witch woman swung around the point of the longer of the raw glass knives into the unicorn's eye, far into its skull. The beast dropped to the wooden floor of the inn, blood dripping from its side and from its eye, and from its open mouth. First it fell to its knees, and then collapsed utterly as the life fled. Its tongue was piebald, and it had protruded most pathetically from the unicorn's dead mouth. With the witch queen pulled her body from the horn, and one hand gripping the wound, the other holding the cleaver. She staggered to her feet. Her eyes scanned the room, alighting on Tristan and the star huddled by the fire. Slowly and agonizingly, slowly she lurched towards them, a cleaver in her hand, and a smile upon her face. "The burning golden heart of the star at peace is so much finer than the flickering heart of a little frightened star," she told them, her voice oddly calm and detached, coming as it was from the blood-bespattered face. "But the heart of a star who is afraid and scared is better far than no heart at all." Tristan took the star's hand in his right hand. "Stand up," he told her. "I cannot," she said simply. "Stand, or we die now," he told her, getting to his feet. The star nodded and awkwardly resting her weight upon him. She began to try to pull herself to her feet. "Stand, or you die now," echoed the witch queen. "Oh, you die now, children standing or sitting. It is all the same to me." She took another step towards them. "Now," said Tristan, one hand gripping the star's arm, the other holding his makeshift candle. "Now, walk." And she thrusted his left hand into the fire. He thrust his left hand into the fire. There was pain and burning such that he could have screamed, and the witch queen stared at him as if there were madness personified. Then his improvised wick caught and burned with a steady blue flame, and the world began to shimmer around them. "Please walk," he begged the star. "Don't let go of me." And she took an awkward step. They left the inn behind them, and the howls of the witch queen ringing in their ears. they were underground, and the candlelight flickered from the wet cave walls, and with their next halting step, they were in a desert of white sand in the moonlight. And with their third step, they were in high above the earth, looking down on the hills, the trees, and the rivers far below them. And it was then that the last of the wax red molted over Tristan's hand, and the burning became impossible for him to bear, and the last of the flame burned out forever. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. That was the end of chapter 7. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up, share, comment, hit the bell for notification, follow me on Instagram, and I will talk to you in my next video.